So this video is going to be me beating all the Batman Arkham Trilogy on the hardest mode, but I can't upgrade once, and this will be split into 3 chapters, each including their respective videos for Arkham Asylum, City and Night. So whether you're studying, falling asleep or just watch and enjoy, grab a snack and chill, as this is going to be a long one. Right, so before getting into anything, I want to speak a little bit about what this challenge actually is, because how many people play Batman Arkham Asylum by now. The way I'm wanting to go around this is playing Batman Arkham Asylum on hard, but not upgrading any health, like any upgrades at all, so that means I can't use the inverted takedown, or the combat takedown, or get critical strikes, which... it's just, I'm mainly concerned, or what my main concern was going into like where Ivy takes over the island and just got plants everywhere, because with little health that's going to absolutely destroy. And I mean, I think I got around it okay post playing the game, but it wasn't an easy task. And the big combat encounters with the Titans and or like a dual Titan fight, but I managed to find them okay, but you'll see throughout the course of the video that's mainly the biggest trouble I had later on in the game. But this is the first video on the channel, so if you could like, subscribe and turn the notification bell on and drop a comment on things you think that could be changed or made better. Like I said, it's the first one I've made yet, but all talking aside, that's pretty much it. That's all I really wanted to say, but yeah, I'll just get straight on to the video. After loading in the game, starting a new game, save file, putting it on hard and fiddling around with the settings a little bit, I got put straight into the intro cutscene with a Batmobile on full display here, and Joker just sat casually tweaking out in the back seat. But after arriving to the asylum with a sexy hunk of a man, the Batman actually is, we're met with the longest walking intro to a game ever. It does have its moments though.
Just sneak in with your bats? Come on, tell me. Batarangs, bat claws, bat smacks. Need to take my temperature? I'd be happy to drop my pants.
But this is also the intro that introduces us to Croc, which he just looks so cool.
I've got your scent, Batman. I will hunt you down.
But that doesn't stop the Joker from escaping anyway, as he always does, strangling a guard with handcuffs, taunting the doctor before kicking him straight in the solar plex and then taunting the officer again. But don't stress, Batman's going to jump through the window a second too late, and the Joker's about to reveal that this was his plan the absolute entire time, and that's why he wanted to be brought to the asylum in the first place. Straight after Joker's escape scene, we're chucked into a combat situation where Joker throws a couple rounds of thugs out just as an intro to the combat, which is some of the best in history. But right after that, we're forced to follow the Joker through the asylum, where we'll have a really interesting interaction with Victor Zsasz.
Stop! Zsasz has got my buddy. He's gonna fry him. Do something, please.
And do something we do swiftly, in vengeance fashion. And straight after that, we're rudely interrupted again off Harley Quinn.
Can you hear me? Is this thing on? Oh, hiya, B-Man. Harley Quinn here. How do you like my new uniform? Pretty hot, huh?
And through this, we learn she's got the warden held hostage, and Barbara interrupting again, and in true vengeance style, we start to rip vents off the wall and crawl through them. After making our way into the gas-chambered room and saving everybody in the room, including the 2 officers and the suspicious-looking inmate, which just gets knocked clean the fuck out. Definitely wasn't racially motivated, just saying. But we'll continue to clear the room, making our way through to find the Joker, and then end up bumping into his big Titan.
Do you have any idea how fast I am? I'm fast as fuck, boy!
Which that wasn't too bad. You can just avoid him if you really want to, but I just wanted to fight him. But it's not going to change anything, because the Joker continues to escape our grasp yet again. And we'll go back on ourselves to where he first broke out, looking for clues, and find Gordon's drinking problem lying on the floor and scan it for clues and pick up his paper trail, and following that all the way back through the asylum, we end up in a very weird interaction with Harley Quinn where she doesn't want us to follow her just yet. So her solve to that is just to drop an elevator clean on our heads with no regard. Obviously that's not going to work, so we'll just climb our way up, and then we're met with a couple of rounds of thugs which we'll take out swiftly. And then we'll continue on to the first stealth intro of the game, which these guys I just chose to skip. There was no need to fight them for time's sake. But for some reason this little weirdo up here, you can't avoid him. If you try and open that grate, he'll just turn around and dome you, and obviously with no health and on hard, I'm not doing that. So we'll just proceed to take him down, and the Joker talking away in the background to proceed through to the actual first stealth part of the game, which bear in mind is the best in history. Same as the combat, it's just phenomenal all around the board. I mean, it's better in the later games, but we'll just make our way through this room, taking them out as we go, whack his head off a ledge and pull his friend around a corner and tickle him to death. But the Joker proceeds to send a few more thugs, and we'll just do the same with them and take them out. Then proceeding on, we'll find a deceased Officer Bowles as the Joker finds out how we were tracking him, and have a short introduction to the Riddler. Solve his riddle really quickly, which is right next to where he talks to you. Speak to the officer, who pops his head out the locked room, and proceed to make our way through to the island where the game truly actually opens up. I just left this clip in because I wanted to show what the combat actually looked like during the challenge, because it was quite hard, especially with no guard counters for being on hard, and then having such low health. And since I can't do ground takedowns to get critical strikes, I need to purely rely on countering, which, like I said, there's no guard counters, and striking and ground takedowns. It's easier later on in the game after I get like the back claw, the upgraded back claw, and I can pull fuckers over railings or onto the floor and just jump on the head and punch it. But apart from that, that's literally all that the combat entails, which is why it's normally edited throughout the challenge. Like, if I die, I'll put it in there, I'll have a death counter up. I didn't die a whole lot at the beginning of the game, but later on, like towards Ivy's fight, you'll see I just get taken hard style off everything. But regardless, after we've protected the car, kicking that fucker in his face, we'll then go and get the explosive gel from the car. Straight after that, we've got to track down Gordon again, and we'll find his pipe lying down on the floor, which he's left as a clue for us to follow. After picking up his paper trail and bashing through thugs, we'll make it through the medical building, where Harley's just there with Gordon tied up in the corner, Kingy style, telling us we can't get in, so we'll find another way in, of course. And then we'll make our way into the sanatorium, which resulted in my first death, being an absolute fucking idiot. You'll see here, I don't know why I thought that I could get them both at the same time. I'm just him, I guess, but seriously, I don't know what I was thinking here, because as soon as I go to grapple away, 1, 2, and this brings the death toll up to 1. But on the second try, we didn't make the same mistake twice, took both of them out straight away, and then proceeded to clear our way through the room, taking them out one at a time. But the next thug in particular just needed a swift kick to the forehead, or elbow, sorry. But then regardless, we save all 3 of the doctors, which I thought was going to be a lot worse than what it was, especially the next one that's just came up there, that I thought was going to be a lot worse. But this guy, I just decided to send to his death. And then after saving all 3 of them, we'll make our way back through to the sanatorium, not before taking out a new enemy type, which is going to prove to be a pain in me arse later on. But we'll take out the room, which is now being filled full of armed thugs again, which isn't too bad apart from this. I don't know what happened here. If anyone can tell us, that'd be great. So I went into full-on panic mode, but regardless, we still were able to take them both out without being seen, and make our way through to the elevator, which takes us straight into a dance cutscene with this dude doing a jiggy into Smackhead jumping at the window. But this is our first intro to Dr. Crane, aka Scarecrow, and his little tiny I never work out legs. This then leads into the first Scarecrow fight, but on the way there we'll get to see our dead parents one more time, and then get dragged into the Hunter's Dream from Bloodborne, where we've got to be a parkour master and make our way through the level, then blind him with a bat signal, and then escape. After breaking out of Scarecrow's fear toxin, we'll then continue on trying to find Gordon and find him locked away in a room with Harley Quinn, which we need to then silently take out the room to work our way to her, jump through a glass window and boot her in the head and save Gordon, and then find Bane tied up, getting the venom sucked from his veins in a greenhouse where the Joker sees us and then decides to pump him full of it again, so he breaks loose. And this then leads into the first fight, where I didn't have too much trouble, but it was a pretty fun fight. That's one fight down with 5 more to go, so we'll start making our way through to the back cave to grab the back claw, taking out thugs as we go along the way. After we get to the back cave and retrieve the back claw, this game's going to get a lot easier. After retrieving the back claw from the back cave, we have to make our way to the Arkham mansion and grab Dr. Young's research before the Joker can. After learning that the mansion's filled full of Joker's thugs, we'll take them all out in the main hall, barely scraping through by the skin of our teeth, and make our way through into the next room where they're all sat trying to find the research by themselves, so we take them out and rescue the hostages and move on. After finding a guard sat at gunpoint, we'll give this thug the fucking scare of his life.
Building lockdown.
You really think so?
Oh yeah? Wanna think again? Look behind you.
Do I look stupid? Do you think I'm just gonna turn around so one of you lame asses can jump me? Ah, like that'll happen.
We then proceed to learn that they're also wearing suicide collars now, so anytime the heartbeat drops below a certain point, that goes off, which will prove hard for Predator encounters, which we'll go into straight after this, but now we have the backlaw and the explosive gel, so it makes this a lot easier. After clearing the room of all the armed thugs and speaking of Cash, we'll make our way through to Dr. Young's office where she's nowhere to be found. So we continue on foot, following our fingerprints, which eventually leads us back to the room where the thugs were, right next to our research, which they nearly found, but we take it instead and then make our way out the mansion. Also a thought, but this takes us into our second Scarecrow encounter where we'll walk down a long hallway, see our dead parents again and take ourselves into it. However, I did die, which just then brings the death toll up to 2, but with not too much more trouble. We'll then continue on and try again, taking out the skeletons and parkouring our way through the level and blinding them. After escaping, we'll then cut down a bell which just falls down and causes way too much destruction, and make our way through to find Dr. Young being held up by Zaz, which will then quickly take care of him with a bit of metal to his face, Big Bong style. For her to die in the first place by opening up a trapped safe, exploding, and then Harley Quinn coming in with the warden again, and after taking out her guide and scanning for clues, we'll follow the paper trail to find Harley and the warden. But this leads us to the penitentiary where all the smackheads from earlier reconvene for the weekly AA meeting, and we'll find Ivy in a plant box jail cell thing and make our way to the warden where, after saving them, Harley then releases Ivy from our plant box prison thing.
That feels so much better.
And then the Joker just proceeds to tell all of these local smackheads when they're all in one place that we've got a spare cigarette and they're wanting one.
Oi! You got a fucking ciggy, cunt?
But after freeing the warden and then stealing his key card for our, I can't even remember what it's called now, but the sequencer to break all the terminals, which we used to then escape the room, obviously, that we got trapped in. and then have a run in with a local smackhead and break his leg, pound his face, and then continue on to find Harley, who does some pure sick shit parkour up here, and then proceeds to fry the guard by turning on the electric floor. No need. So we then work our way up and proceed to beat on them relentlessly. Again, doing sick shit parkour escapes us, and then we break the terminal to turn off the electric floor, and the way through the Chi went. Running into the local smackheads again, throwing them around, smashing heads off floor. We'll run into a room where Harley's got the 2 officers dangling over pools of electrified water, which we need to turn the terminals off and cut them down, then turn the terminal off to leave the room and then escape. After chasing Harley down, it leads us into her fight, which gave us a little bit of trouble, but it wasn't too bad. I'm just going to let the clip play and speak for itself.
I'll leave it to you then, my dear.
Get him!
So now she's out of the way. That's another 2 fights down with 4 to go. Which, now we're in the end game, we'll leave the penitentiary not before saying bye to the local smackheads after all the lovely memories that we've shared, but we'll leave the penitentiary. After leaving, we will then find out that all the smackheads have taken over the island, and as you can see in this clip here, when they get a hold of us, they do some fucking damage and hurt. So I won't fuck around, I just take them out as soon as I see them. Which you can see here, they're literally everywhere. They're running from left to right, so I decided to take on a good few of them just to get them off me back, and you can see how easy they go down, but if they get a hold of you, it absolutely wrecks. But we'll make our way through to the gardens regardless, and through to the entrance to where there's 2 armed guards, which we take out in one goes, Marv style from Home Alone. But after breaking the terminal, leads us into a stealth predator encounter, which didn't really go too well. Just took 1 movement and he's seen. Some bullshit right there. But this then brings the death toll up to 3. We don't have that trouble twice though, pulling them over rails. This is why I love the grappling hook so much, because it's amazing for this type of stuff, and when I can't do inverted takedowns and have them all in one place, that's the biggest lifesaver. You wouldn't believe it. Use it if you're going to do this type of challenge. But after making our way through, we have this interesting encounter with the Joker.
You need to stop this now, before it goes too far.
Stop. But everyone's dying to see what I do next.
Let him go now.
Really? Okay, if you say so, then. Whoopsie! No! You really need to speed things up, Bats.
Yeah, so no need for that, but then we'll make our way into the generator room to turn the pool of electrified water off so it can actually go across to where the Joker's just left. But as you can see, again, being fucking stupid, brings the death toll to 4, not before doing it again, and then bringing it up to 5. You're really going to see the deaths ramp up here. But then we encounter a new type of terminal that we're going to need to tackle quite a few times, especially in the garden. So instead of doing it once, you're on a time crunch to do it 3 times, which if not, it then squirts shit in your face and you have to restart. But after turning it off, so we can actually go back through, make our way towards where the Joker went, we'll make our way over, breaking vents off of walls, and then end up in a stealth encounter where this one, if if you get seen, they drop them cages with 2 hostages in, which is not a good thing. And being the fucking idiots we are, crouching around a corner, obviously after being seen, going straight into panic mode, leads to the 6th death, making the death count to 6. As I said, they're going to go up massively, but we'll just continue making our way through and take out the guy at the top first, so then we can continue our way down and no hostages will die. Which this was fine. And then after rescuing the hostages, we'll find a panel that's able to be taken off in a terminal straight behind it, which then opens up a secret room to a lab in the gardens where we've been following Harley do. This is where we bump into the Joker and he has a bit of a laugh and turns these 2 henchmen into big titans, which this is the dual titan fight I was talking about at the start of the video, which I was concerned about. But to be honest, I didn't really take a lot of damage and it's not a very interesting fight. It's just a little bit of that and then a bit of that, a bit of that and that, and that's it. So I'm just going to skip to the end of the fight because it's just so repetitive seeing the same thing over and over. But after kicking his head in and his friends, we open the gate, totally forgetting that we need to take out the Titan and then send our little personal plane through a greenhouse roof and taking the line launcher, which then we have to use to escape back the way we came, make our way through the Ivy, which she basically lets us know that there's a plan under the asylum that we can take to prevent the plans going out of control. So we'll be coming back and seeing her very soon, pulling some henchmen to the death, which they definitely die. I know you can hear like a splash, but they're dead. So I then kick move me way over and proceed to take the rest of them out. So after leaving, we then bump into all of Ivy's plans, which is now taken over. So we've now got the lunatics and the plants alongside everything else, but we'll make our way back to intensive treatment, making our way down into the sewers, back to the room with the first predator encounter. It wasn't too bad because they've bombed the gargoyles way, so if you get on them, they'll explode. But like I'd said, don't need to get on them, just need me back claw, pulling people over railings and taking the whole room out that way, and then proceeding to make our way down to where we all got shit scared at like 10 years of age, into the 3rd Scarecrow level, which is the final one also. So after making our way through the beginning of the game in a different perspective in the Madhouse instead of the Asylum, getting shot in the face and waking up in the Hunter's dream for a final time, we're making our way through, seeing Smackhead Batman eating a rat. We'll just continue to do the level as normal, taking out the skeletons, working our way through, being a parkour legend, going on YouTube, doing sick cunt backflips and grappling away, to get to the end where he fills us with even more as we're about to break out, and we've just got to defeat 3 waves of enemies, which will then at the end of each wave blind him like that, which we need to do his left hand, then his right hand, and then it's a big skeleton titan and normal enemies. After killing them all, it gets him in the middle and he then proceeds to run away after we get out of here, not before doing a typical thing and blind him straight in his stomach again, making sure there's no sign of life in there. But after escaping and being a bit twitchy, we see Crane escaping down into the sewers through an elevator, which is the only working one since Harley dropped the other one trying to get us on the fucking forehead. So we'll make our way down after seeing him escape, work our way into the room where the wire leads to open it up, defeat the thugs, destroy the terminal, and then follow them down, which is leading us into another group of thugs, which we'll take out swiftly with not too much problems, and then get this cutscene.
Too late, Batman. One step closer, and this goes into the water. The cave will fill with your deepest, darkest nightmares, and you will never reach your precious venom roots.
Don't do it, Crane.
So after Croc got a nice feed, that's 3 fights down and just 3 to go, which we're literally about to go into another one because this leads us straight into Croc's fight. Where, to be fair, we do a bit of sneaking around, throw a batarang, miss, take the death counter straight up to 7, sneak around a bit more, take some samples, throw some more batarangs, take some more samples, just like we're cutting down there. And it's just very repetitive like that over and over again, which is why I haven't made an edit like I did for the previous fights. But here we're locating our way back, which this brought a few more deaths our way. We're just the first 2, so there's 1. There's 2, stupid shit, jumping too early, which is then just going to take the death count straight up to 9. But after a while of sneaking out and running away from Croc, as we have to, as we get closer towards the end, we'll wait for him to get close, stand there as bait, and he's wanting the munch. You can see him, look at him, and then he's gone. Down to the pit where dickheads live, and straight away that's now 4 fights done with 2 to go, which are going to be back to back pretty much right after we'll go to the back cave. So after making it back to the back cave, creating a cure for the Titan strain, plants breaking in, grabbing the upgraded back claw, and then pulling down a big ass motherfucking wall to escape, we'll go into the end game. Right, first of all, I need to apologise. Sitting up my chair for this. As between fighting Croc and getting to the sewers from the back cave, that footage, I didn't realise at the time, my laptop ran out of space and I had to grab my hard drive, but I had to take it back from here. All that's happened though is you go back through the sewers where you were earlier in the game and you had to scale through and there was Titan pouring through. You scale back through there and pull off a wall to get here into the sewer control, which there leads straight to another death, which brings the death total to 10, which is now going to make us go back. I'm going to take a second, then we'll go back through this area properly. Oops, I fibbed. We'll go back into the stealth encounter, being the fucking idiots we are, sneak up behind him as the other guy turns around, takes another fat load of lead to the fucking face, bringing the death counter up to 11. But then we'll go back through, finally taking out the room, which, say, it's not too bad if you're not being a total spastoid, but regardless, we'll take everyone out, destroy the terminal, move on to the next room, which is the combat encounter part, which we didn't find too much trouble with, but we'll do the same in there, take it out, destroy the terminal, and move back to the main access point in the middle where all the elevators are, which is about to become hell on earth, and we'll barely scrape through. I don't know how we do it, but we did it. And here I use the Black Claw, an absolute load, like from here to the end of the game. So you'll see here I was pulling them towards them and then getting them to hit them or punch them into the doors, which I'm not going to show the whole of this fight either, just because it's the same as everything else. We do come out with next to no health, but I didn't die, so I don't think it's worth keeping the full fight in. So after barely scraping it through that encounter, we'll make our way back to the gardens to confront Ivy, which this fight was no joke. You can see going there I was nearly dead in the first place, but after taking out the guards, we'll make our way through into the room. So after fighting Ivy, that only leaves the Joker. And this is now the end of the game. We've made it. That Ivy fight I told you was no fucking joke. We now just need to make our way to the party the Joker's throwing us and proceed to die right here. Just trying to fight them instead of going in, which was no need to. But we'll finally make our way through and get blown up and then get chucked into a dual Titan fight from the Joker, which again I'm not going to leave the whole thing in. I died quite a lot here, so I'm going to add the deaths in now. But apart from that, I'm just going to skip to the end of the fight and then get right on to the good bit, which is the end Joker fight, which is amazing. So, that's that. I will say, towards the end of the game, it was challenging, but to do this in under 20 deaths, I've got to give myself that. I am going to immediately start working on an Arkham City video, especially with all the hype around the Arkham games at the moment. I want to do a challenge at a game I'm great at, and when it's starting to come back in circulation because a big streamer's playing it. However, I'll give this challenge like an 8 out of 10. For a newcomer, it would be a 10 out of 10 without a doubt. I can tell you that now. With no guard counters, unlike the rest of the game, so much more harder. But this channel is going to be run by two people. There's going to be me and there's going to be my friend who's still getting all these equipment together. So for right now, he's stuck with me. I'm the one with a stutter. He's the one who doesn't have one. You'll notice. You've noticed by far if you've made it this far. You've laughed. You've giggled. Or you've made some comment, who's this stuttery twat. You've done something, right? And I'm watching you. But I hope you enjoyed the video. And since it's the first one on the channel, it's took a long time to do. I'm not used to the software yet. So I hope it's good for everybody. But yeah, see you later. Putting it on hard and turning the hints off for starters. Yeah, you guessed it. Catwoman taking out a room full of thugs as they're trying to rob a safe and then getting held up at gunpoint off Two-Face. Which then we actually get into the start of the game, getting knocked out off Tiger Guard's chat and Hugo Strange, waking up in a room and then headbutting this guard like Tanjiro. Then proceeding to move on through the prison, getting knocked the fuck out and then getting confronted by Penguin. And then start to dish out some of the fucking forbidden knuckle on everyone's faces, breaking off the handcuffs, and before we leave, just giving Penguin a straight up fucking elbow to the chin. Climbing up the side of the Ace Chemicals building and then retrieve the Batsuit, which at this point I just want to say I backed out and I'm going to be playing with a Batman Beyond skin for the rest of the playthrough, as it's my favourite skin. That's why it's in the thumbnail, but obviously I couldn't get to that point until now. Anyway, we'll make our way through to the courthouse where Two-Face is holding Harley over a vat of acid, Rick and Morty style, so I'll bring a ladle to test it later, don't stress. But we'll then proceed to wipe out the room, taking everybody out Justice style, forbidden knuckle, shoots you along the way, and then gets shot off Two-Face. Catwoman then escapes and then is standing in front of the window chatting a load amount of shit. Gets shot at off the Joker, so now we have to scan for clues to figure out where it came from, and now we're making our way over to the church where we'll get our intro to stealth for Arkham City. So after making it in the church, we'll throw Harley against a wall, grapple away from these thugs and start taking them out one by one for an intro to stealth. But after taking these two out, I made a stupid mistake landing on that fucking freak and then end up, yeah. Well, I try my best, but it doesn't get us very far, because you'll see here that this just leads straight into the first death, which is cool. But on our next attempt, we'll take everybody down, make our way up to the top of the church, and then scan the weapon footprints, and then the Joker speaks before blowing up the entire place. And now we need to start tracking him, which takes us to the steel mill. But before we go there, we'll pick up this quick AR challenge and get the grapple boost to do this, which just makes life a lot easier. I know I said no upgrades, but it's just going to make life easier. I don't count it as an upgrade. It's not going to help in the long run, but start making our way through the furnace into the steel mill. Get into a room full of Harley's guards, working our way through to turn off the steam so we can actually make our way up and start kicking the fuck out of everybody, which this was a bit of a gauge for how the game would proceed to go, but it wasn't too bad. This next room, which we need to go into, we'll take a few guards out on the way, and this is the first proper Predator room, so we'll take everybody out, grappling him over the side and then surprising this guy.
We've been trying to contact you regarding your car's extended warranty for...
Yeah, you can tell he didn't know what the fuck was coming, but then we've rescued the doc to get sealed in the room and need to sneak our way around after just Iron Man and a remote electrical charge up, which we use to then sneak out, go through into the room and take out the thugs who try to lock us in, but we're Batman. And then using the weapon with just Iron Man, we'll pull the door off of the room where Harley is and then get met with Mr. Hammer. Fucking boot. Yeah, so now we've got to fight this one-armed gimp with a big fucking hammer, which I was stressed about this fight, but as you can see, it's not went too bad apart from that. I did get bonked. But the thing is, in the animations, he'll still hit you and it'll still count. Like, if you're in a combo takedown, he'll still be able to whack you about. But I didn't know you could do that, where you can grapple them and then it pulls his hammer to hit someone. But after defeating him, we'll make our way up to where the Joker is. Wait. The old fake Joker gag, which, to be fair, you'll see why this is the way it is later on in the video, but we'll get surprised and yet again knocked the fuck out, second time so far, straight and off Harley, Suicide Squad style, but she can piss off. And then we'll get our second playthrough as Catwoman, where we've got to make our way over to our house to get our gadgets back after the whole interaction with fucking Two-Face. Climbing the building, doing skits cunt shit, taking out the guys outside the front of the house, and then making our way in and coming out, and we have now the ballers and the spiky balls, sorry, cat drops, and the ballers. And then we'll start making our way over to where Ivy is, which, this is stupid. I didn't even move. Fucker, see me fingers and knew what was up, so that's the second death. But regardless, moving on, we'll take out the guys and then start making our way through into where Ivy actually is. Which this leads into Ivy's fight, which is a lot like the one in Asylum. But with Ivy down now, we're back waking up as Batman. I don't know how long we were knocked out for, but Harley in our face wanting to take our mask off, Joker not having it, and then filling us full of his toxic blood, booting us out of a window with a phone strapped to our chest so we can FaceTime our little best friend. But now we have to start trying to find Mr. Freeze, who's been trying to whip up a cure. Not before playing a quick thing of catch with Azrael, which I can't believe I've never done this before, because as you see there, I got the trophy. But moving on, we'll start going towards the GCPD building, which is where Freeze is located. Which there's some armed guards outside, which would take them out, grapple them over railings, and that kept happening, where they kept getting back up, but didn't change a whole lot, just pissed us off. See, and there again. Didn't change now, still fell to his death. I just love pulling people over railings, but now we'll make our way into the GCPD, where this didn't go too well the first time, as you're about to see. Yep. Boom. But I'm pretty sure that it's not too bad on the second time. We just take them out as per normal, making our way around the room. interrogate the last thug, which he tells us Penguin has now got Mr. Freeze locked up in the museum, so we'll try and make our way over there, coming in hot like that, taking him out, everybody, and then trying to hack our way in, which the password's Fossil. After we get through, we'll find out he's jammed the communication, so we need to go out and take all the jammers, which I've just put it all into one clip there because it really wasn't too bad, and it's just the same thing over and over again. But we'll break all of them, make our way back to the museum, hack in through the terminal that we couldn't previously, which is just Dinosaur, and then continuing to move on, getting jump scared off a T-Rex, and then moving down and beating the absolute living fuck out of this guy. And then Batarang, oh never mind, kicking his friend in the face, speaking to the officer here, which then he lets us know that a lot more of his friends are here. So we're working our way through to save them as we're going to the gladiator pit, and as you can see here, it's a big room of enemies. I was panicked about this, but the first wave's not too bad until the Penguin shoots this cage and it falls down there and nearly killing us, but outbreaks, you guessed it, a Titan. Same formula from Arkham Asylum, but this time we're not going to Batarang them, we'll stun them, whack them in the face a few times and jump on the back, which then he proceeds to let out even more of his little boy toys, which we then have to start taking out again, which we could have used the forbidden knuckle jutsu, but instead we're just going to fucking jump on his back and wave them all around because he's an idiot, taking him out. And then after following Penguin, we then see he's got a room filled full of water and ice, and he's using the freeze gun to start freezing the guards, which after he's frozen this guy, which there's just no fucking need for, it's a bit out of order in my eyes. We'll then have to speak to him, where we'll find out there's more around the room, so after saving his friends and getting them to safety, making sure they're okay, we work our way into the next Predator room, where this, didn't go all too well, but the next time we'll take them all out and then proceed to pull this fucker over rail, and then same over here, taking everybody out as we go speak to the officers and find out the Penguin's got Freeze captive across the other side of the building, so we skedaddle over there, which then we are met with another one-armed gimp, not Mr. Hammer, but Sickle, where this is pretty much just the same crack as the first time. With his brother Mr. Hammer, you just need to take out the thugs in the room, fight your way through using the remote electrical charge to make him hit his own friends, which, yes, this guy as well can still hit you mid-animation, which I don't know why that's a thing, but like, look, you'll see, like, I can't stop that there, so I just have to take the hit, but after just filling them full of 1-2s and forbidden knuckles and fucking taking them on front, we'll just hit him in the head, freeze, give him a little bit of a speech, which wasn't too good because Batman was in no fucking mood to deal with any of his shit. We'll make our way back after he tells us that there's an override chip in his suit to make the disruptor, which then taking on a great white shark just because it's a random day in Arkham City, and Penguin just wants a shark in his pool. But we'll get to the Penguin arena where we've got to sit and wait behind the walls for him to shoot like that, because we can't use the device unless we're closer to him, which we are here, which this then leads into a bigger fight, which I always totally forget about going back to these games. But blows up the iceberg, we'll fall underground, and now we're met with an even bigger boss fight. So after taking out Grundy and Penguin, we then take them to Mr. Freeze, and yes, that's one of Rachel's soldiers just in a box, where then we speak to Freeze about making a cure, bringing up Rachel Al Ghul, which pings this little fucker's ears, so then she just proceeds to hop away. Fucking boing. And she's gone. So now we need to track the, scan the evidence and then track this assassin down, which the trail eventually goes cold, so we'll try to scan some bandages, get knocked the fuck out for a third time. He must forget he's Batman, so we chase her down, manage to counter this and put a tracker on her back so we can follow her back, and then Robin comes taking up everyone the fuck out, Tim Drake style, and tell him we work alone, and he gives us the line launcher, and as we're following the ninja back to a hideout, we'll dive bomb down a hole, taking out some thugs across the way. Finally getting against people that have got knives, which was a bastard to take on, especially with such low health. As you can see, I'm quite low there. But making our way further through to another room filled full of thugs, using the line launcher to kick them in the head, we'll then, yep, die. 6 deaths. But second time around, it does not happen the same, so we'll take them out and then continue to move our way through into the Predator room, which is just a typical room. We don't struggle too much, taking out the guy that jams out detective mode, inverted takedowns, and just continue to clear the room, which I don't know how he didn't see. I took his friend from right behind him, so we'll save the nurse and continue through, following the ninja's tracking device, collapsing on the floors. We'll literally die and trying to find Raish. Taking out these 3 of the exact same people. You cannot tell me that they are any separate individuals at all. They are the same person. But continuing to move through, make it a wonder city, and have to scan all of these robots' heads and play tennis with these 2 cunts to try and receive the data from them to find out where she went, which we'll find out that she went through a secret passage where we need a sword, so someone jumps in, we'll kindly take theirs, collapse and get to see our parents again as we're literally about to die. Have the longest walking scene. I'm having flashbacks to Asylum, so I'll cut that, but meeting Talia, getting slapped. And then she sees the type of monster mash going on under the mask, makes us insecure, so we'll go and drink our stresses away and cry about it, going into the demon trials, where this is where we'll literally just watch how unique, dive, land, fight, dive, and dive, fly, fight, and then dive again until we're out. So it's basically the same thing over and over again until we confronted Raish, where he was just wanting to be a little bitch about it because we weren't going to kill him, so he gets very angry, dips in the Lazarus, and this leads into his boss fight. After Race has been incapacitated and we're back up to a little bit more full health, we'll make our way back into the room where the 3rd jammer was. I know I didn't show it, but it's filled full of armed thugs again, so we need to take them out, which it goes quite well for a while. At least a little while, because you can see, like, that's the jammer there, and this missed some fucking house, so then we'll get seen and obliterated. Cool, 7 deaths in. And then we'll try again, taking out the room, making our way back over, taking out these shielded thugs, which are going to be a pain in the arse as the game continues, taking out this fucking armored thug, and then clearing out the rest of the room, not before fucking dealing with a lot more shielded people and It's just a fucked room, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, I got through it with most of my health, and then we've got to hack the terminal to make our way back, where we find incapacitated Quincy Sharp on the floor, taking out the thugs around him who were going to kill him for Two-Face, and then dangling him over a fucking building, confronting him, trying to find out why he's there, what Strange wants, and then just continue to leave him on the top of a fucking building for everyone to fend at him. And then we've got to go back to the GCPD, where this doesn't go too well the first time around. I get absolutely folded, 8 deaths in, amazing. But yeah, I don't know why I did a little kick at the end there, I was just too excited. But now we'll make our way back into Seafreeze, where he's not too responsive. He makes the cure from Raish's blood, which helps, but then doesn't allow us to take it and wants to fight. So yet again, this is a leads straight into another fight, which these ones are quite back to back, but here he's just refusing unless we're going to be an errand boy to hand over the cure. So as you can guess, yeah, we're not having that, so this leads into the freeze fight. So yeah, in the middle of all that, the cure got stolen, which now we have to go and retrieve the cure from the Joker, which, as you can imagine, that's not going to go well. So as we leave, we see Vicky Vale in a helicopter for the Joker just to straight up fucking Al-Qaeda the shit out of the chopper, send it flying across the fucking motorway across the city, which now we need to go and save her from a turf war, taking out these 4 snipers, almost dying here as we're doing so, but we take them out, go and save Vicky Vale, which then all she wants is a fucking interview, little mad hair, why I don't trust a blonde. But regardless, moving on, we've now got to go back to the steel mill, taking out the guards in the entryway, which wasn't too bad, and then continuing our way through again, taking out guards, making our way through the building, which this, with a freeze blast, is a lot more helpful, but we need to use the freeze blasts quite a lot here, so we need to use them to jump on the water and then use the grappling hook to travel through. So we'll basically just do that quite a few times, making our way through the intricate sewers of the steel mill, which I guess is okay. Kicking this fucker through a window and then taking the rest of them on, which I love fighting these because you just beat the fuck out of them, and then you can build your combo and just break them all down. But after taking all of them out and moving on, I didn't know you couldn't combat take down these fuckers, which didn't help, but now we're back doing the same shit again. Ice pulling across fucking water under a steel mill, which I guess is now just a common thing in these fucking games, but regardless, we just zip line across, keep making our way through, freezing the pipe so we can actually go through, and then using the remote control batarang to open this fucking bridge, continue our way along, getting hit off the doctor we saved earlier, just giving her a little stern warning not to do it again because she'll get knocked the fuck out. Then back in the room where we're scared that first thug to death about his car and extended warranty. And yeah, that happened. So it was trying to zoom us in and tell us about the landmines as if I didn't see them, which got us killed because I couldn't do anything. But going back, we're again just take out the room, exploding them all, which this is true, law accurate fucking Arkham Batman. Which I just want to leave the whole clip in because this is probably the best time I've done a room in a long time. I mean, it's not all of them, but it's the most of the thugs in like, what, 20-30 seconds. See, but I don't get why they stay on the railing, but regardless, I'm not going to rant about that. Would then hide it in a box from him. He's shitting on about how he's going to kill us, knock him the fuck out, find Harley tied up, and then continue, which is tempting, but then we'll continue our way through taking out the snipers and the rest of the thugs in the room to find the Joker. Which this room to me is a boss fight on its own. It's the first Clayface / Joker fight you're going to do in the game, so I edited the same, so I'll let it play. And then again back as Catwoman, who's been hanging upside down in front of Ivy for this entire point of the game, which I don't know how much time's passed, but that's fucked. So she then tells us that there is a plant of hers which we can redeem ourselves from if we go down into Stranger's vault and find it for her. So we'll start making our way through to the sewer system, taking these guys out as we go, and then crawling and dropping into the sewers, into Stranger's secret lab, which we need to pickpocket 3 key cards off the Tiger Guards and then go back, put them into the system to unlock the vault, which is then obviously going to alert everybody. So Catwoman don't give no fucks, just puts them all in, opens the vault, and then we need to proceed to take them all down, which this was no trouble at all, to be fair. I mean, it's quite an easy part of the game. They all just separate after you take them out, apart from the 2 on the door. Destroy Ivy's plant just because. Get greedy, take the suitcases, which then we proceed to have to turn around and fight a room full of thugs, which the first time, as always, as you can probably assume, with me, doesn't go well. 12 deaths. Sweet. But then, after taking them out the second time, we take the suitcases, and then we are presented with a big dilemma. Do we save Batman, or do we leave? So we can either leave, or we can go back and free my boy. So, of course, we choose to go back and free Batman. Finding a Batman Arkham Beyond under a load of rubble, she then proceeds to use cat strength, lifting it off with bat strength, and then saving us from the debris. And then we'll get up, make a few snarky comments, and then proceed to try and make our way to save Talia. Which this doesn't happen as Alfred the Goat reminds us that thousands of people have been bombed because Protocol 10 is now active. So after a bit of debate, we then need to go and try and find the control panel on one of these helicopters that's got the master controls in them. Which after finding a few, we finally found it, punched a hole in it, and then proceeded to download the actual master control program, make our way to Wonder Towers, taking everybody out as we go, make our way into where we started the game as Bruce Wayne in handcuffs, where after coming down we'll get surrounded and have to listen to strange shit on, so then we'll have to take out the guards, which after taking out the first few, another wave of enemies comes in. So it wasn't the easiest fight in the game, but it wasn't the worst either. So making our way through it, jumping over them because they can take me the fuck out really quickly, and making our way through into the towers, which I don't know why it's all in the sewers in this game, but it is. Whatever. So we'll continue our way through into this Predator room, where this Predator room was no fucking joke. I'll just let it play, you'll see. So with now 20 deaths under our belt, we'll finally make it through the room, pulling them over a rail and hacking the elevator and making it up to the roof where you guess what happens one more time just before we leave? Yep, 21 deaths. So this is already more than Asylum, but making it back, we don't fail twice and then proceed to parkour our way up Wonder Towers, strange launchers, attacks all over Arkham City, destroying buildings. So we need to make our way up quickly into the next stealth room that went just about as well as the last one, where we die not once, not just once, that's already 22 deaths, but twice, before finally taking everybody out in the room and making our way up to Hugo Strange, throwing him around the room a little bit, and making him see what he's done to Arkham City before he gets pierced straight through the chest off none other than Ra's al Ghul, the mastermind behind everything the entire time, which I never seen coming the first time. So he activates Protocol 11 to blow it up, because obviously he has a backup plan as Hugo Strange, trying to save Ra's though, tries to stab us because he just really wants us to kill him, and then, yeah. Didn't go well for him, did it? So now it's time for the end game to go and fight the Joker, who's got Talia held captive. So we'll make our way through to this, the movie theatre, taking out the thugs at the doorway as we go, and a little bit of fighting some thin air just because I fancied it, knocking him the fuck out though, and then making our way in to where the Joker's got Talia held captive, or at least we think it's the Joker. And then she turns around and pulls out some cool ass ninja moves and fucks him clean up, stabbing him straight through the chest, which we've just seen. That's 2 people in the past 2 seconds, having a flashback and realizing that this wasn't actually the Joker at all the entire time. There was 2 of them there. So he starts to click it together that this isn't who it was, and it was Clayface disguised as Joker. So as he goes to save Talia, it's too late. She's already been shot, which no fucking need for that. And in the original game, he was Talia and the Joker, but as you can see, he hasn't taken the cure. He isn't well. We brought it to him, and now this leads into the final fight of the game between us and Two-Face, Clayface. But this is now the very end fight, and I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I will just let this play. But yeah, that's Arkham City. So I've done Arkham Asylum and City. I will be going on to do the other ones. The next video I want to do is the first Berserker of Kazan, or however you say it. Big Souls guy, so look out for that. I'm sorry that this one's took almost 2 weeks. I've had a lot of things going on, but hopefully the next one won't be too long. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Around about 2 months ago, I made a video where I beat Arkham Asylum on the hardest difficulty with no upgrades, and around about a month after I released the Arkham City video. And now it's time for the big one. It's ArkhamKnight time. The same rules apply, there's no upgrades at all. This includes the Batman armor upgrades, this goes for the Batmobile also, which is going to prove to fucking suck later on in the video.
That actually is pretty funny.
However, if you like this type of content and want to stay up to date every time we drop a new video, please consider liking and subscribing, as only 1.7% of people are actually subscribed and 98.3% of people who watch aren't. And this will really help the channel out and help us see what you actually want us to be uploading and what people like. I do want to address the lack of videos that's been going on and why there's a 2-month gap between the first and now, and a month gap between the second and now, so I'll leave a timestamp somewhere on screen where you can skip to that part if you're interested. However, I'll stop shitting on them and get into the video. We'll load into a new save, put the game on hard and turn the hints off and jump in. We get put straight into a cutscene burning the Joker up and then getting jumped straight away by aliens after Jason dosed us with fear toxin in the restaurant, then getting put straight into the John Batman cutscene in the sexy 2008 Batmobile suit. That's what I'm using. We're gonna have to deal. We'll then go straight to talking to Commissioner Gordon and then giving him a bat phone because we're best friends, and then going straight to rescue the officer. After Dome and that come, we start to beat on all of his friends, kicking them in the nuts, kicking them in the heads, flinging across the street like fucking Spider-Man, and then as soon as we go to rescue the police officer, Paul Walker comes up trying to make us into a tree, but we escape just in time and then deck the officer on the roof for no reason. Yeah, nice Batman. Then continue our way on, evening the odds.
I'll send someone to pick you up.
What are you doing?
Evening the odds.
After evening the odds, we run into a group of militia who we've got to track down and explode the car using the rockets from the Batmobile, which isn't too hard. We just need to keep hitting them until they eventually break. After pulling the dude out the car and showing him he's nothing but a bitch-made boy, we'll flip him over the shoulder and tax his fear toxin so we can use it ourselves. He then proceeds to tell us the Scarecrow is hiding out at his safe house in Chinatown, so that's where we're heading next, but we've got to break his wrist first, you know. We then do a quick scan of the fear toxin, breaking down the compound to use it ourselves and send it off to Oracle so she can do a crippled Batgirl shit in the watchtower, and then it's straight off to Scarecrow's safe house, so I guess I'll see you there. After making it to the safe house, we jump in, taking out all the militia around very quickly. They aren't really a lot of a problem, especially now after doing the other 2 games again, but Ivy's now been taken captive, who was really at the safe house the whole time, which will waste no time in disposing of that dickhead. After he was dosed with fear toxin and swiftly escapes, which we go straight to question her on how she got here in the first place. She lets us know about a meeting held by Scarecrow, and everyone who's a major criminal was there. They wanted to take Batman out, and together they could have done so, but she refused and then woke up in the safe house as bait for Batman, and then as soon as we go to try and help her, she just, yeah, takes us plan style, but that doesn't work for too long, as you can tell, because we're Batman, doing Batman shit, already at the bottom waiting, just because we need to. We instantly find ourselves surrounded with militia, which we then need to pull out the RCXD from the Nintendo Switch and get it on the go, taking out all the tanks as we just chill, doing Batman things behind the wall, me and Ivy, best pals forever. And then we need to start taking out the rest of the tanks and then make our way back to collect Ivy. Where as soon as we pull up, we then go back into normal John Batman mode, putting Ivy in the back of the truck and then making our way around where we have to. A few simulations I've left out because they're useless, giving us useless fucking Wayne points, or Wayne tech points when we can't even upgrade in the first place. So yeah, I'm not going to be including a lot of them or doing the side quests or stuff because there's no point. But we push on, taking out all the tanks at the movie studios and then taking Ivy back along to the GCPD, which proves to be no problem, getting her there at least. Jim then tells us about all the unsolved crimes going on at the moment, like the firefighters and the pig side quest, and then the Riddler obviously is the last one, but we just continue on with the main objective. We aren't about that shit this time around. But making our way over to the clock tower, and speaking of Oracle, she's been breaking down the compound we sent to her, so obviously we have to one-up her, breaking out the BTEC and ICT from year 12. After giving quite a quick speech, we then have to move on to the movie studios to try and pinpoint Scarecrow's location. But we give our best pal in the world a quick ring and tell him to get everything prepared for when we find Scarecrow, and then start making our way over to the movie studios to start pinpointing his location. As soon as we get over there though, we'll realise the generator's all sorts of fucked, and we've got to try and back it up ourselves, where we need to call in a quick drop from big man Lucius Fox, where he's bringing in a big bat supply drop off the bat wing, where we're going to need to go and bring the car over to where he needs it, and then he instantly inserts it straight into the Batmobile. No questions, no surrender. We then continue to do second moves across the rooftops, bring the Batmobile over to power up the generator that was previously not working. As soon as we restore power, we then need to make our way over to the shipping yard to try and do the next one, where we find a room full of thugs that we need to take out. Using our big Batman brain, we throw Batarang outside the door to try and lure some of them out, which is exactly what we're doing. Take both of them. We get the big boy bat drop, and it's the new big bat suit, which allows us to do shit like this, which is using the fear toxin to our advantage, which takes 2 seconds to take them out, and then to rescue the officer, and then quickly power up the generator, and then speak to Oracle and let her know before using our remote control bat plug, and then throwing it around to try and find the Scarecrow is. But as soon as we locate and we catch the bat plug, and then immediately we need to leave.
A few moments later.
Sorry, it was needed. It changes your suit as soon as you go to get the new one, which you need to for the game, so I need to quickly cancel out. But we make our way over to rendezvous with Gordon at the bridge outside of Ace Chemicals to get ready to take on Scarecrow, but walking down the ArkhamKnight in a helicopter instead is just as fine, just as badass and Batman-like. But as soon as he fucks off like a little bitch, we then get immediately shot at and then have to make our way in by ourselves instead of with the car. We now need to take out an area of armed thugs to try and reach the command console at the end, which isn't too hard, but now we have the fear takedowns, which is just cool as fuck. But now we need to access the command center to try and find who's on work, like who was working out at the plant. And as soon as we get all the IDs, we'll head up to the roof to try and locate them with the bat butt plug again, throwing it with a big right arm of a fucking cricketer straight out into the stratosphere, and then scanning and locating all of the voice recognition for all of the workers in Ace Chemicals, which we're going to need to track down. Which we'll waste no time in trying to do. The first one especially, taking them out Godzilla style, drop kicking through a window and lamping that cunt literally. We polish off the room and then learn that the guy we're trying to find is literally dead, so that's already one dead worker down. But we access the gate through the power switch here, opening it and letting us bring in the car, jumping in, look at that sexy Batmobile, and then taking out all of the tanks in the area, which there's now one that shoots 3 ways and it takes 3 hits to take down, which is a bit of a pain in the arse, but not too bad. The rest are a piece of piss. We now have to fight the guys above us who have control over the crane, pulling a scorpion on that guy, and then continue our way to fight all of the ninja dudes who rock up, which are literally the guys out of Arkham City. You can't convince us elsewise. Got the exact same moveset and everything, so they aren't too hard. But after sorting that out, we make our way over to the next hostage, which is sat in a room where we get infiltrated by the ArkhamKnight, where as soon as he starts to talk his shit, we just pull out the RCXD and start blasting fools through walls and through windows. No, like, how that didn't hit him's beyond me, but okay, we'll move on. Rescuing that guy tells us that the rest of the people working are actually in the plant itself underground, which we have to then take him all the way back to save him. He's the only one we find alive so far. Make our way back in, all dramatic like, finding all the other employees on the way, dead or alive, but the next two we find are dead. Until we find another worker who's not dead and tells us the Scarecrow's in the central mixing chamber, which isn't too far from where we are. So after rescuing him and going back in, all dramatic style, we go through the side of the building, which we needed the crane for. And then making our way down, we find these two dudes who are protected by a sentry turret, where we're planning our attack wisely, but it's not too hard. All we really need to do is jump down the crates on the side of the wall to get underneath them, like we are right now, and then as soon as we get underneath them, we just need to wait for the turret to go past, use the fear toxin, taking them out, and then moving swiftly on to taking out the sentry turret straight after, which isn't too much trouble. You literally just, yeah, like that. We then get the door open to bring the car through and continue making our way further down the tunnel, until we bump another big combat encounter, which this is the most combatants in the game, so I'm going to speed through this bit quickly. It wasn't too hard. We then make our way into the central mixing chamber, taking out all the armed guards and almost dying around Scarecrow to try and get in to confront him. As soon as we do, he turns around to try and hand himself over. Yeah, we are not having that one in the slightest. Bringing him up, being all nice and fucking posh. And as soon as he tells us what we need to know, that he's trying to cast out the whole of Gotham, we then chuck him to a side, try and break it down ourselves, which doesn't work, and then he escapes, which I don't know why he keeps letting his guard down. Now we need to carry all of these chambers over and try to defuse them manually as we're bringing them in, to try and lower the capacity of the blast radius until we get an unsuspected surprise. Boom, bitch, he ain't dead. Now welcome to the spin-off where we'll play as Jim Gordon. Nah, but seriously, we'll just start playing as Jim, taking him down into the Panessa Studios base, where he finds the Goliath, who cannot be policed, and the rest of the Jokers, who are all sat up captive, who have all been infected with the Joker's blood from Arkham City, if you remember that. Apart from Henry, who hasn't been infected yet, which we need to do further tests on until we get jump scared off Batman like it's FNAF. But now we need to try and convince Jim that everything's legal and buy the books so we don't get in a big bad trouble. But he starts to realise that all these people turn into the Joker, and Henry might actually be the cure to everything, but we'll see later on. And then he asks who the last sells for, and we're telling me he'll be here soon, not letting him know that it's literally us. But either way, we then continue to wake up as Batman, where the Joker's calling us Bruce, which lets us know that this isn't actually the Joker. It's through the poison-tainted blood. He's making his appearance at the beginning of the game, which we just don't even pay him any peace of mind. Call in the RCXD, pull off the wall, and pull a sick cunt escape out of base chemicals before the whole place goes tots. Which we waste no time in trying to tell our best friend in the world about the best thing ever that we've just pulled off, but he proceeds to tell us that Miss Gordon's been taken out of the clock tower, which she will help if she could run, but she can't, so now we have to go and meet Jim, try and work up the courage to tell him about his daughter getting nib-nabbed off Scarecrow and how it's our fault.
Come on, you're scaring me. It's Barbara.
Then instantly proceed to get rinsed off the Joker for not telling them, and just he pulls this shit all the way through the game. Some of the funniest shit you'll see in the Arkham games, but now we've got to escort him to the tower, which goes about as well as you'd think. A load of militia catching up and trying to take him out, but as soon as we get them out, we then have to tell Gordon to get in our car, because you know it's bat safety. Yeah, 100%, so much safer. So we start taking out everything that's in the way of the clock tower, and after all them are taken care of, it's time to actually make our way up there and meet Jim. But on the way there, we'll find a load of armed guards waiting on the roof. We take out the medic first, key to any survival situation, using the fear takedown and stealthy Batman skills. We then proceed to take out the rest, apart from him, banished into thin air. You saw that, right? It wasn't just me, but okay. Making our way in to go and tell Gordon about his daughter. We'll then start tripping balls one more time and see what actually happened to Barbara, which was the Joker broke. Well, he didn't break in, he came up to her apartment and banged her in the spine. Absolutely no reason, and then left this little message on the wall and proceeds to taunt us again. bell end. As soon as Jim makes his way up and then we're showing what Barbara's actually been up to, isn't too big of a fan, I'd say. He starts freaking tweaking the fuck out. Crunches Batman clean in the jaw and then destroys his bat phone, which is only for bat friends. Can't believe that. Now we need to start tracking the vehicle that took Barbara in the first place. Tracking its tire screeches throughout Gotham and running into a landmine on the floor, which we now need to defuse, which is not too hard of a task. We just need to stay close to the bomb and take out all the tanks in the area to succeed at the task while Virus is uploading, and then get another useless waypoint and get brought to a dead end at the end of the bridge, where we can't access it yet, so now we have to go on foot to try and lower the bridge, which this leads to our first couple of deaths, because look at this shit. And that's the first death. And this doesn't just happen once. It doesn't just happen twice, you know. It's got to hit it with a fucking 3-piece with a chicken McNugget combo and a drink at the end until it doesn't. We'll floor them all and manage to get access to the terminal. Where as soon as we gain access to it, we start doing bat hacks and putting all our malware and software and gay porn, on there until the Riddler shows his face, showing us he's got Catwoman held captive, which we're just going to totally ignore because it's nothing towards the main storyline. Well, that was fucking rude. I was in the middle of talking, but yeah, we get jump scared off Man Bat, a bitchless version of Batman, and we unlock his side quest, which again we're just going to ignore and keep on keeping on for the main storyline, where now we just need to make our way back to the Batmobile to get all the way across the bridge, which we've now been able to gain access to through the terminal, where we'll learn that there's a weakness in the structure, which is where I'm shooting at right there, which makes this a lot easier. Now we have these to deal with, shooting missiles and bullshit out 24/7 in the middle of fights. But we make it to the end of the trail and find an already deceased driver and try and reconstruct the scene to see what happened, finding out that Barbara crashed the car and the ArkhamKnight's taking her back, but she's left us a clue to find, which now we need to make our way over to Wayne Tower, the home and enterprise of the Big John Batman, and try and decode what she's left us, which was a little chip the thing she threw under the box, which using Batman's back computer we are able to trace the communications between the ArkhamKnight, Scarecrow and all of his army, which is what she left, a little radio chip. And now we get to pick between upgrades for the Batcar, and of course I went with the Mark III upgrade to the Batmobile weapon system. Now we need to start making our way over to picking it up, taking out tanks and everything as we go along, all the while tracking the ArkhamKnight's communication systems and following them down into the tunnels under Gotham City, where as soon as we start to make our way through, we have to speak to Robin, who wants to try and help, let that bitch know, tell him stay put, tell him everything's fine, we're his girlfriend's Barbara, don't tell Robin. But now we need to make our way through, which is just a series of puzzles, unlocking doors and jumping over vents, you know, just typical John Batman things, until we have to make our way through and get confronted off the ArkhamKnight himself, where he pretty much little bros Batman here and shoots him in the rib. He could have killed him if he wanted to, but now we have to fend for our lives against these militia after being shot in the ribs, and this happens. Yeah, what chance did that leave us with? None at all, but with tiny health left and no other options to make it through, you using the environment to our advantage, we kicked the fuck off with absolutely everyone and everything, lamping this dude again, lamp counter 2. And keep moving on, taking out the medic. You just need to, little bitches. They will get everybody up and fuck your day up 100%. Now, after taking them all out, he tries to ram the little turret through the wall, which doesn't do a whole lot, just get the back car out and done. And we keep making our way through the tunnels until we catch up with what we think is the ArkhamKnight, following him, dumping a load of missiles into him and his pals who surround him, or ramming them off the road, until we finally find out it's not who we were looking for at all. It's a little copycat with a voice changer, and get taunted off the ArkhamKnight himself, telling that he knows how we think, so we have to crush his boy like Khabib, ramming his head through the concrete with the back car like Batman's not playing around here. You can't tell me he's not dead. I'll not believe anyone telling me he isn't dead. He just killed that man. After speaking with Big Alfred and Lucius Fox, now we are able to get the secondary upgrade to the Batmobile after all of that. But what that does is we now have 3 of the missile barrages, which we can do this now instead of just being able to get 6. Yeah, that's pretty cool. After clearing out the rest of the few tanks, after having to demonstrate what we get with the new upgrade, Alfred lets us know that Grayson's been checking out Penguin for a while and all these arms deals, so we're going to meet up with Nightwing. Yeah, the sexiest man on planet Earth. And then he gives us the Disruptor, which I didn't even know he had the skills to be making this. Which this also allows us to blow up weapon crates and everything, which you're about to see here right now. As soon as I get it, I'm able to disarm guns, which now they won't fire, chucking smoke bombs and being able to sneak up on people even if they have a weapon or not. And even in the smoke, I can use the takedowns. After taking care of the rest of Penguin's thugs, we put a tracker on the van and give them a quick scare out of the life as soon as we knock on the door. And now it's keeping to the rooftops, trying to follow them all the way back to the hideout, which isn't too much of a problem yet again, but now there's a bunch of armed guys on the roof that we're going to have to take care of, which is just the same as any normal stealth level, but however, it didn't go quite as planned. As you can see here, I just had to Frank Castle it out. Yeah, so if it would have just let us do what I was trying to do, that wouldn't have been needed. But now we'll just take out the rest of them via takedown style, make our way inside and give Penguin the scare of his fucking life. Jumping out of a vent and taking on all of his boys as they try and run at us, one by one, taking them all out. And having a game of catch with the literal human, because with Batman, as soon as he tries to escape doing scummy little penguin shit, we break 3. And then we get the fight with and using Nightwing. As you can see here, team takedown, bitch. Which Nightwing is one of the coolest people to play as. In the Arkham games, he's just so nimble. It's amazing. But after taking out the last guy, we now have to take care of all the weapons, putting some explosive gel on the crates in the vault, and then boom, it's time for it to go. Moving on, we never do this again. Another 2 useless win tech points and we're off. Not before getting cornered though, where the Joker, he's going to take care of this, watch. Yeah, fucking lot of help that was, but now we get the remote control back car and just start lacing into people from across the street and taking out the sentry turrets as we do so, and then hop back on the way to go and investigate the airship. Which I don't know if it's just me, but I personally can't stand this part of the game, so I did try to make it quite quick and get through it as quick as I could, but making our way over, there's a bunch of sentry turrets stopping us from getting directly onto the blimp, which is being controlled from that console, so we need to make our way around the building, taking everybody out again, so we can actually access the console peacefully and not be getting railed up the butthole as we're trying. But again, because we're John Batman, absolutely no trouble here. Eat shit, and then explosive gel the console, and boom, that's taken care of, so at least they're not going to be a problem. Now we have to go back up to Wayne Towers to go and collect the remote hacking device, which is going to help us infiltrate the blimp, where we're able to get the passwords and not need to try and use a key that we do not have. And then we can also download codes from the drones and turn people's drones against them now, which is going to be mega handy, especially at this point in the game. As we continue to go down and through, we just have to keep making our way through the airship. We've now got the rotational controls from the panel over here, which allows us to be able to tilt the ship from left to right and helps us maneuver our way through the airship, so we can do it like this. Which that is a big help, as you can imagine. But then we jump up to find another Goliath who thinks he can't be policed. Motherfucker finds out real quick he ain't nothing but a bitch-made boy. Told you, what a bitch. We then find Simon Stagg surrounded, and now we're gonna have to jump in and save the big man himself, 60 style. Yeah, a bit of a throwback for some people that, but now after speaking to Simon Stagg, he tells us it's too late and Scarecrow's already escaped onto the second airship and it's too late to catch him unless we can get over there. But before we even have a chance, we just start tweaking out a game, which is going to be a common theme, where all the guys we've just kicked the shit out of start standing up and ready to fight again, but we're just able to whack them around with no consequence until they start getting a bit too much everywhere and turn into the Joker, which starts to become problematic as we get jumped and then have to actually sit and try and snap his neck, which I'm pretty sure that's trying to show him losing control further and further in the game. As I was saying that, he loses control and then he gets kidnapped again, which is very helpful. As soon as we go to make our way over, we find out there's more weapons to take care of, so we have to make our way through further into the airship to where the control center is, where it's basically same shit, a different room, making our way through, taking everyone out. But you see him there, we need to start with the medic. Never want to leave a medic unscathed. You take him out and you bash his brains to bits and then you go and take care of his friends, elsewise he'll just keep picking them up. Promise you that now, using the fear takedowns, we're very easily able to do this game in the stealth modes, because that attracts people to where I want them, so that really helps. But after taking out the room, we then infiltrate the system taking care of the weapon, but we need his fingerprints. So we start scanning through the cameras to see if he left any fingerprints anywhere as he was getting his shit kicked in off the ArkhamKnight, which we find he does. You find one there, another one here, one more, and then the last one here. Which this allows us to reconstruct Stagg's whole handprint and make our way through further into the airship. Making our way back though, this is why the medics are dicks. Like to electrify people, but this makes no difference whatsoever. As much as it can at times, it didn't here. Took them all out, bat bale style, and then proceeded to narrow our way through into the next airship. As soon as we land, we've got some thugs to take care of, lamping another country, and then moving on to another stealth room, but this one's got a big guy with a big gun, which we're going to have to take care of in a specific way, you'll see here. After taking out the rest of the room first though, making sure we get all the raggedy stragglers, and then making our way over to the big boy himself. We've got to do it in 3 phases. We need to hit, dodge, hit, dodge, hit, dodge, one more hit and a dodge, and then we'll knock him the fuck out, which is 4 phases, not 3, my bad. Then make our way over to Stagg, where he's been locked up. As soon as he's about to tell us all the secrets about Scarecrow, he just gets doused in fear toxin, starts tweaking out in the cage thing, and there's bugs all over him, which to be fair, he deserves for helping him make this big device that we're about to find. Make our way through and to find 2 Scarecrows and pick the wrong one, tweaking out, and then get drugged big time off Scarecrow. This helps the Joker in us come out a little bit, which scares the shit out of the Scarecrow. Yeah, the man of fear. But now the Joker's got over control of us a little bit now. We'll start hitting a lot harder. Imagine the Joker in Batman's body. Yeah, it's not going to go well. So he starts taking everybody out and making sure we leave no one unscathed. And then leaving the Scarecrow open to a Mr. Burns ass walk over to us before we try and fill him in. But again, it's a bit too late. The blood's already running a bit too thick and we start freaking out well before we can stop him. And he actually pulls the trigger, which now Scarecrow has had enough time to once again get away, free escape, because Batman's done over here tweaking like a smackhead outside of Tesco's. Now it's time to go and rescue Oracle from the safe house we found Ivy in, but it's a little bit too late. By the time we get there, she's already been doused in fear toxin, and before you know it, pulls a big fat Kurt Cobain style shooting on herself, and we just have to sit there and watch like this.
No, 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 no! Wait! Wait!
It is not a good night to be the Batman. Not tonight. We now need to work with Ivy, going back to the GCPD to try and help us, more to the point, counteract the cloudburst that Scarecrow has been cooking up in that airship, which as soon as we give her a free ticket out and get her straight out into the Batmobile, we then have to wait because there is a big fuck off tank outside the GCPD, so we've got to go and scan it for weaknesses, scan it on all of its sides, which then we just fail to see the big glowing red spot on its back. As soon as we make our way back to the car, we'll finish it off, no problem. Which we now need to go and get another upgrade, which I did forget to put in here, that's my bad, but this is where we get the CPU drone virus upgrade. Which that will help a lot later on. I don't really use it until the end game, but it comes in handy after I do start to use it, so that's my bad. I'll remember to put something in next time. And now we've been cornered, where you think's cornered by 3 of the big Cobra tanks I've just showed us take out, which it's a case of hitting, running away as one gets aggroed, or if they're close they get aggroed on you, and just repeating the same thing over and over again until they're all destroyed. Now we can finally take Ivy to the Botanical Gardens, where we've been trying to get her for ages, where she literally talks to a tree, rubs a tree, and then becomes a tree. Yeah, tree things. Can't argue. Bad things, tree things. Same with me. Full on Plantus Erectus, but now we need to go further into the tunnels underground and unlock the sonar, which is where we're going now. But before we can even go underground to do that, we do also get raided at Wayne Towers right here as soon as we go for the upgrade again. A load of tanks that aren't really a whole lot of problems. Just use that, take them out, keep fighting our way through until there's literally none left. The tanks in this game aren't too hard, even with no armor, but the end tells a different story. But yeah, we unlock the sonar, whack it on the bottom of the car. Now we can go and start trying to find the routes to Ivy's big plant, which we find, let off a big sonar blast, which allows the plant to wiggle its way free a lot more than what it did in the first place, which is what we're going to need if we're counteracting the fear toxin. As soon as the plant goes up though, yep, it starts getting sniped off all of the militia coming to stop us, trying to stop the cloudburst, which as soon as we go up, doesn't really go too well and leads straight to the death again. But come back twice as strong the next time with no regrets, no worries, and just start taking names and teeth, folded like a deck chair. And then we have to start making our way over to Panessa Studios to go and speak to Robin, but this happens. We were not letting that slide, not after the first time. I'm not doing that. He's in my brain, he figures it out. After making it to the studios, we start trying to track the cloudburst, which is an absolute hassle to do because there's drones everywhere, so we can't tell what's actually what, so we need to go over to the big island, find one of the drones and rip out its computer chip, I think. And then making our way over, we keep trying to land on it, but it just won't work for the life of us, but eventually it actually just lets us land on it. But I didn't even click anything here after flying around for 5 minutes. As soon as we rip open the panel, we'll take everything that we need and then just let it crash clean in the ground. You know, domestic terrorist style, Batman style, 9/11 style, doing it as we please. Bitch. And then instantly we have to start using it as the drone hacker. And then as soon as we go to try and take out the other communication towers using this, well, the radar networks, we need it for this because we need to be able to blind light the drone there, which is a little helicopter. But this allows us enough time to make it on and destroy the panel, before even getting seen, which there it's still like a 40-second cooldown, and then we have to go and do the same to the next one, which is around some sentry turrets. Now we can send the Batwing out to scan for the cloudburst just as soon as we take care of the long-range missile launcher that sat in the middle of Gotham Central. Just a big missile launcher, but yet again it's covered by a group of armed thugs, which these are all the same as the rest until they're not, doing sick front flips, and then yeah, we get killed. Wasn't as good as I thought it was, but this only lasts for so long, because after we come back we take them all out, not a trouble in the world, apart from here where they start lighting up shit up with the crates. Yep, that didn't go too well, but we just don't go back inside of the crates and just keep taking them out one by one till they're all gone. Then when we make our way up to the panel up in the room, we are now able to lower the guards in front of the long-range missile launcher, so we are able to unleash a load of attacks. We just need to get the car there, which is now surrounded by 5 Cobra tanks. As soon as we took out the guys the ArkhamKnight sent in the cavalry, which now it's the same thing as last time, we just need to keep behind them, shoot, and then run away, and just keep repeating this over and over again until there's none of the Cobra tanks left, which is easier said than done, take it from me. But after this one's gone, we'll start making our way back over to the missile launcher to go and start taking it out. But as soon as we go to do so, we'll get rudely interrupted. We'll hear the cutscene from the ArkhamKnight. Where we were in the roof the whole time, weren't fucking about, taking out the medic, just as a precaution before going for the ArkhamKnight himself. And then it just leaves us to take care of all these boys in the room, which, as you can imagine, again, it isn't too bad. We'll run straight over to the panel on the wall to try and get an environmental takedown, the big guy, which does go quite well, which this is the easiest way to take care of them in my opinion, but it's the same thing again, picking up weapons on the floor, taking everybody out in the room, just leaving no survivors, no one left behind, none at all, but making sure that the medics were the first to go before definitely killing that guy and beating his friend half to death. We're now able to take back over control of the Batmobile, start making its way over to the long-range missile launcher where we have a full-on little fight sequence and start getting pummeled into, but it's not too hard as soon as we use the barrage. It takes care of it instantly. Which now that's everything taken care of, and now the Batwing can freely scan for the cloudburst, which is going to save us a job tracking it down ourselves. But after leaving, we then have to start making our way straight over towards the Panessa Studios, or the clock tower, sorry, to track the Batwing's movement before we get an emergency call from Panessa Studios. And Henry's telling us that we are under attack, and this is by Harley trying to get the Jokers. Obviously can't be letting that happen, no way. So we have to make our way over and find out we're locked out, which is about right, because Harley's dumb as bricks but then can rewire a whole system on her own. Yeah, it makes sense. But then we just Iron Man out a voice synthesizer, copy our voice, and are ready to open it as soon as we get rushed by a group of thugs that are Ivies. It was going well the first time, as you can see the pile of corpses on the floor down there, until this guy's got superhearing, turns around and just fucking domes us again. That's the 6th death, which isn't going too bad in my eyes. I don't think 6 deaths up to here is that bad. But we'll take the rest of them out and make our way down into the studio, not before taking out that. But we'll have to hop in the elevator like a normal lad for a change, and keep making our way through, speaking to everybody all nicely, definitely not beating people up with shields. But now we get to use the voice synthesizer to open the gate. Now we have Harley's voice saving big man Henry, and then we get to fight with and or as Robin himself, the big Tim Drake. But look at him go. He's not as cool as Nightwing, but he gets the job done. And as soon as we start interrogating this guy, he lets us know that Harley's got the Jokers further in the facility. So this next part is broken into 3 sections, being all 3 of the Jokers that we're going to need to retrieve, being Johnny, Christina and the Goliath. The first one we come across as we make our way through is the Christina area.
Come on, lady. We need to get you someplace safe.
Are you kidding me? I'm getting front row seats.
Which here it's not too hard, it's basically a big stealth section where we've just got to keep taking people out around the room, where we can call in Robin or Batman, depends on who we're playing as, for a team takedown. But it's always wiser to save this for the second phase where the big guys start coming in. Because this one, as you can see, it's not too hard until the 2 guys with the big guns come in and start taking teeth. Well, they think they go on to until we do this to them. Absolutely no mercy, taking them out, team style, whack, 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 whack. And then taking one out as Batman, which was a piece of piss. We just had to fight him because the room was empty. Now it's time to go and retrieve Christina, which is a job for Robin. Start taking her back through to the main part of the facility and then make our way over to the next area, not before having a few visions of Jason Todd, which is going to keep happening in between each of these areas, which symbolises Batman realising who the Arkham Knight is but not wanting to admit it. We'll make our way over to the area with the Goliath, who cannot be policed until we go there to police. And this bit's a bit different, because as you can see, there's a little circle we need to fill up to be able to do a team takedown, where as soon as we start to fill up the bar, we can do this and take him on, and this takes out a little chunk of his health, so we just need to keep repeating this over and over and over until we finally wear him down enough to where he's knocked out and beaten, where it's just a big team takedown. And now we just need to finish off clearing up the room, which, as you can see, I've barely lost any health. It's not hard. And then Robin and his built-ass shoulders picks up the Goliath and polices him all the way back to the main area. Get another flashback of Jason Todd and the Joker and what actually happened between the 2 of them, which just gets worse as it goes. But now it's time to make our way over to the Johnny area, Johnny Charisma, where he's surrounded by a bunch of bombs and he's wearing a bomb vest, and we'll have to join him on stage. But this is where us as Robin have to sneak around the room and defuse all the bombs, while Batman's keeping him occupied as he's singing his heart out. But this happened, and even though I defused all the bombs, still died, which led to another death, which is 7. I forgot to add that in. And then the next time, as soon as we wait for him to turn his back, which is the mistake I made the first time, we can go up to him, defuse the jacket, and then take it straight off him and get him pushed into Batman, where he's now safely secure and knocked out. Not a worry in the world. As we start making it back through, we bump into Harley and a group of our men, which now we need to confront her face to face, which we don't do, but big man Robin does, until we come out of the floor, chuck her, tag team her. I'm jealous a little bit, and then have to take out all the surrounding thugs to make our way back over to where Henry is safely to put the rest of the Jokers back, which we also bring Harley. Jealous of Batman again. But this doesn't go as well as you'd think it does. As it turns out, Henry, he wasn't cured. He was just able to keep it under wraps the whole time, so there's no hope for a cure no more. He's killed all the other Jokers. Got Harley by his side in an instant just because of the hair colour and the lips. Now, as soon as he goes to kill us, he realises that we're the last Joker. And as soon, I mean, it's a bit drastic in my eyes. He's like, oh, you're going to be cool. That means I need to go. I'm just going to fucking kill myself. Which is always the answer, kids. Always kill yourself. Always the best way to go. Robin then locks us away, or at least so we think, and look at that janky ass head movement. Batbale at his finest. But as soon as we go to turn around and see what's been happening outside the cell, we'll get the last flashback of the Joker and Jason Todd, where he finally kills him. Sends this tape to Batman, which we'll later find he was resurrected in the Lazarus Pit. But that was all in our head. We never did that in the first place, but instead we chuck Robin in and then decided to cut all comms to Alfred so no one can see where he is. And now we need to go and get another weapon for the Batmobile, which we swiftly go and make our way out to go and get. Oh, we're going to try. Until this happened.
Now that's not funny.
Trying again, we're finally able to go and get the weapon put onto the Batmobile, which took us long enough. That's the only and first time the game actually cancelled on us and just left us in the dark. But now it's time to go back and try and help Ivy. As you can see at the Botanical Garden, shit's going south, but now we have all 4 of the missile barrages, which makes this very easy. Not as easy as I would have liked, but that little weak spot always works. And as soon as we're done taking care of them, another 5 Cobra tanks appear, which is the same thing yet again. It's just a hit and run game every time we bump into these Cobras, which happens quite a few times. But like there, we had to finish them off with a big insertion of the missiles. But now it's time to go back and pick up Ivy. But as soon as we go to check on her, we get a alert off Alfred to check the map and see that the cloudburst has been on the move and is now ready to burst. Cloudburst.
Get it.
Yeah, this is what we're actively trying to avoid. There's fear on the streets, there's manic hell on the street, everyone's beating the fuck out of each other. So Ivy just goes back into our plant, doing G shit, pretty much killing herself to try and help take care of the toxin, where we now need to go back up to the airship and speak to Stag about how we can actually take care of the cloudburst. Making our way over there though, taking out all the guards in the room, because yet again he's been trying to be found by all of the militia and using the drones against them, bashing the medics, heading, curb stomping them right there, and then finding Simon Stag hid under a floor panel like a pure vagina, who will then interrogate to try and find how to beat the cloudburst, and he then tells us this fusion cell we can go and use to replace ours, which is already in the Batmobile. Will then make it so we can drive around inside the fear toxin and take on everything inside through the car instead of trying to do it from above, which is what we immediately do and go and jump back in with our best pal, the Joker, scaring the shit out of everyone until the move and taking out the old capsule, which we've got to do very carefully or it'll explode, and then inserting the new one before we can even think about getting back into the car. But as soon as we are, we'll just take a minute and then straight back on. We now need to use the sonar again to try and find a second one of Ivy's plans, which is going to help us clear out the rest of the fear toxin. But as we get away, we need to use the sonar to find out it's a trap, which, not for me, obviously. We'll take out everybody, and while using the drone virus, which I told you comes in handy as we get later on in the video, which that basically just turns that tank it's going to into mine, and it also stops it trying to shoot you for a second. But as soon as we're done, we power this up and then make our way further underground and through the tunnels to try and find Ivy's plant, which we just need to keep making our way through, fighting and sneaking around all of the big tanks that are down there on foot, until we finally make it to where the roots are and give it a good old blast the same as last time and send it Plantus Erectus all the way through the floor yet again, which will get a free lift this time, which is nice of it. But now we are going to be attacked ruthlessly off all the Arkham Knight's tanks, which, as you can see, I do almost die, but don't, because it's me, I'm Batman basically. I am this version of Batman. But now it's time to go and take on the Cloudburst, which this is surrounded by 7 Cobra tanks, which is even worse because now we need to take out all of the Cobra tanks, which is the same as all the other ones. It's not too hard, it's just hitting and moving over and over again, which in this scenario it is dangerous, as you can imagine, all the Cobra tanks and then the Cloudburst. But now it's just us and the Cloudburst, and we'll have to keep getting direct hits on the back, side and front of it to try and wear it down, where as soon as we do so, it goes straight into heavy attack mode, and we really need to get out of there because this one can kill us in 2 hits. As soon as we take out all of the weak points on its side, it's time to take on the Arkham Knight. We head on in the Cloudburst tank, which, surprisingly enough, we do this first try. No deaths, no problem, but as he's escaping, all he thinks he is, he collapses, and what do? We jump in, save him, and then, as in tradition of this game, start tweaking clean the fuck out as we're hitting him, seeing the Joker, which guess what this does? Guess what it does? It gives him time to escape, and now we have to investigate what's happened to Poison Ivy as she's trying to fight off all this toxin, and she pretty much puts everything that she's got back into the plants, and this pretty much the end of Ivy. She gets the full-on Iron Man treatment.
No, I'm Iron Man.
I told you, but at least she went out on G shit in this game and not like Asylum, taking out all the fear toxin, clearing up everything, so now no one needs to sit and suffer. So she died a hero, but was born a bitch. Now we need to head back to the GCPD to try and get on this his possible lead that's being found, but it's on a SWAT line and it's encrypted, so Batman doing Batman things takes over and finds out that it's Gordon trying to go and take on Scarecrow alone, since he knows where he is and he has Barbara, or at least he thinks he does. Butcher's dead and we have to start making our way over, and I always hate this bit because I can never remember where I'm going, but as we make our way through we find a room full of all of the Arkham Knight's militia and Jim Gordon. Ripping off a panel in the wall, we can then get the car through and start making our way down and through the vents to the bottom of the facility, trying to find where Gordon is, where we just need to keep lowering the car, shooting out the walls and then destroying the generators as we're going, which it's an easier task said than done. Normally I do die a lot on this bit for some reason, but I didn't here. Now the generator's done, we can move the car down and we just need to keep on repeating this over and over again until we get down to the bottom, where we'll find a group of Arkham Knights militia using bomb vests, which will scare the fuck out of him and just chuck him to a side after getting rid of his vest, which he had this whole presentation on, which just didn't even work. After taking all of them, we then moved to destroy the final generator to be able to get the car down to the bottom end of the whole cylinder fan thing, where as soon as we do, we just have to keep making our way through the tunnel until we bump into a big chase scene through from the Arkham Knight, who we now need to try and escape in his big fucking drill machine. As he tries to let us know that we're cornered, we then have to keep making him chase us through all of these tunnels where they have explosives at the end, so it blocks him in and then we can escape. As you can see here, fucking boom, bang, pow, and he's gone. Now we just have to repeat this a few more times, where we shoot at him to get his attention, drive through a tunnel, make him hit all the bombs, blow up, until we're finally way down all of his health after doing it a few times, and then have to try and make our escape as we get cornered in the end off the Arkham Knight himself, who lets us know he knows our real name and he's the reason that Oracle was found, which leads us more to believe that this is Jason towards the end of the game, which is Batman's worst nightmare. But we'll pull a sick run. Batman escape jumping out the top, but then we lose our car. Yeah, you know, the $1 billion irreplaceable tank, yeah, that's gone forever now. We continue to make our way through trying to save Gordon, and as soon as we find him, we have an interaction with the Arkham Knight himself.
I'm in your blood, I'm so alive. I only wish you'd let me drive. It won't be long till I make you kill. Who'll be laughing then? Barbara's dead and I'm laughing.
Where we find out that this well and truly is Jason Todd, and he's been hunting down Batman ever since abandoning him in Arkham. Or that's how he sees it, and this leads into the end fight with Jason, well, the Arkham Knight.
I drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end. I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. I'm caught.
After wrapping that fight up and bringing it to a big conclusive death count of 10, we now have to go and rescue Gordon, which that fight was, in my opinion, one of the best in the whole of the franchise, but it's up to you for your own opinion. But we don't get far before getting jumped off another load of all of his thugs, and then have to make our way up, Gordon and ourselves, to go up and try and take on Scarecrow, where we'll find out Barbara's not dead, and he's gave Gordon a problem, pick between us or Barbara, and he chose Barbara. But now Scarecrow thinks we're dead, and that's not what he wanted. He wanted to help capture Batman. He then throws Barbara off a roof. But you can imagine that doesn't stay too long, because who are we? John, Christian, Bale, Batman. Soon as we land on the floor, we'll hit a cool parkour, fucking tuck and roll, absorb all the weight of the floor so hard that Barbara can walk again, and then have to call in a spare $1 billion tank. Don't even know how he had one, but he's got a spare $1 billion tank to try and take on the rest of these thugs. We're not thugs, tanks, which we have to do it in the RCXD style. Where these aren't too much of a problem, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot, but these tanks aren't a large problem in this game, especially after playing it so many times. But we'll put Oracle back in the back of the police bat truck and send it back on our way to the GCPD, where as soon as we go to access the service from the clock tower, people are destroying it, so Batman needs to make his way over and yeah. No, but seriously, we'll take everybody out. Again, no problem using the voice synthesizer and the disruptor and pure bat skills. Take everybody out and reconnect Oracle to the bat service so she's got full access to everything.
You're reconnected to the mainframe.
Great.
As soon as we head back and go to speak to Oracle about everything we've just done, the GCPD then becomes under attack, and after making our way out, trying to see what's happening, it's ArkhamKnight's militia, and we just mow them all down in the car because I cannot be bothered to fight them right now. So close to the end, after making our way on the roof, we see that this is the ArkhamKnight's final stand. It's his final chance, so he's trying to take out the whole of the GCPD. So making our way through, we've got to keep taking out guys everywhere, restoring the backup generators to be able to get the car out and stop the assault on the GCPD. Which this, as you've seen in the very beginning, if you remember, didn't go exactly to plan, so I'm just going to add all deaths in now.
Got him. Target destroyed. Enemy down.
Which that did go bad until it didn't. Like, it's not all of the end of the world, but see, and Oracle does that. She takes over and releases a weak point as you're fighting, and they also drop in them long-range missile launchers, which I didn't realise at first. Even to this day, I didn't realise. But after taking all of them out, we now have a group of militia dropping on the roof of the GCPD, which now we need to go and take care of them. Which this proves to be quite a hard task, as you can see. I'm just going to add the deaths in now. That's 1. And that's 2. So that's another 2 deaths on top of everything else. But third try around, we don't fuck around taking out the medic because they were causing us such big trouble, electrifying everything, including the big armoured guys, until we finally take them out and we're able to make our way back down. However, though, I'm going to add the deaths in here because this brought the death count up to a big change in Robin 16, which is still quite low, I will admit, but still compared to what it could have been up until the end of this game, we got absolutely thrashed. Now we need to investigate Gordon's appearance at Panessa Studios, which we quickly find out to be that Scarecrow has taken Robin, which is our fault because we did just leave him locked in a glass box, no way to defend himself, and the Arkham Knight knew where he was. So now we have to make our way over to Scarecrow and hand ourselves in, where we have to put all of our equipment on the table, surrendering the big John Batman belt, showing off our sexy pecs as we do so, and hop on the back of a truck, which swiftly ends up getting rammed off the side of the road. And again, not skipping a beat, we'll start tweaking out again, but this time we have a sequence where we're beating the Joker literally to death. Every time we'll build up a combo of 8. I think it's 8, we are then able to start snapping necks and backs, and turns out never got rammed off the road in the first place. It's just the Joker getting closer and closer to taking over, and chatting a bare amount of shit in the back of this white van. Yeah, about right. But now we enter a very, very familiar cutscene. Turns out Scarecrow had been at Arkham Asylum the whole time in the room of the mansion, which rings a bell. It's where he was left the last time. He shoots Robin and forces Jim to take our mask off, which then reveals to the whole world exactly who Batman is. Scarecrow then starts dousing us with all of his drugs, trying to make us trip out, and we end up getting a scene where we are the Joker. And this one's very interesting because you see the Joker had an impact on the Batman's car for this literal reason for when he takes over. Because now his car's fully decked out and ready for the Joker to hop in, so this is what would have happened if he'd let the Joker take over. But this is also, you need to remember, a figment of his imagination, taking out everybody in the room. No remorse, and then taking out all of the big mob gang leaders, being the Penguin, having him on the floor, doming them, and then the Riddler and his hostage, doming them both, and then Two-Face, which as soon as we go to leave shows it isn't Two-Face at all, it's Gordon, and it's us as the Batman freaking out. But as soon as we start to snap out of it and come back into reality, it's a burning city around us. But when we come back, we aren't Bruce or the Batman, we are literally the Joker. In true flesh and true blood. And he sends us straight back into the hallucination where now we're playing as the Joker in his worst nightmare. Walking around an abandoned asylum, pretty much watching him fade away from history like he never existed, which is the Joker's worst fear. Seeing Harley cry at his wake and there being nobody there, and then getting surrounded by the Batman statues everywhere until we finally get kicked in the face and uppercutted and sent through a wall, where now we are confronted with the big Batman himself in the Arkham Intensive Treatment Unit, where we're symbolising Batman beating the Joker out of his mind and then sending him back to the back where he can be forgotten about forever. And that's his worst nightmare came true, not needing to keep him there. So now we are no longer afraid. The toxin won't do anything to us, but on the other hand, it'll do something to Scarecrow, which you'll see in a second. But here comes big man Jason Todd for the save. As soon as he realises we're being held captive, he lets our arm free and we are able to get a hold of Scarecrow's arm and let him have a taste of his own medicine. Big man Jim coming in for the save there, but this pretty much wraps up the whole of the Arkham Knight, or the Arkham Trilogy really. And I hope you really enjoyed the 3 videos. I know they're not up to the best standard, but I've done the best of what I can do, so I'll see you next time. For any of those who are interested though, for the reason of the lack of videos that's been going on, both of us on both sides have just suffered really recent passings in the family, and them being quite close to home as well, and I'm a dad with a full-time job, and my friend who's posting on here also has a full-time job, so I don't want to create any illusions that there's going to be a constant upload cycle. We just try to get them out as soon as humanly possible, which I hope you all understand. And there's a lot more coming soon, a bit more of a different style to this, and the Resident Evil trilogy, or 2 movies are coming soon, and the 2 videos are coming soon. There's a lot coming, but you're just gonna have to hang it and be a bit patient, because we're trying our best. But I hope you enjoy, and I hope this can get out to as many people as possible, and I hope you have a nice day.